I feel like the stream is going to be unstable again based on preliminary data that we have right now. That's going to be really bad. Anyways, welcome on in. I hope you had a good weekend, and so on. We have some half news as always. Some things have been popping up, which is pretty good. Some things have been less good as intended. The most important news, Denny, hi, welcome back. Good morning? Kinda. Is it like 10 in the morning? I think it's 10 in the morning for you. How are you? How's everything? Um, unless you're on the other side, in which case it is really early. Cybersect, hi, welcome on in. How are you? How's everything? Same things. Stony, hi. Goddamn. Everyone arrive at the same time. It is crazy. That's crazy. We have some sad news. And like how things happened. I have a delivery that was supposed to arrive on Sunday, but it's Sunday, and France and Sunday is never a good thing. So, that didn't happen. And so it's supposed to arrive today. And the today is uh, probably in 30 to 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ah, you're still in Italy? I thought you went back. I see. I see. Well, that's good. Do you have some news about all of these? Because you had a bit of a scare happening. So, yeah. Uh, salary is delaying. That is so bad. I'm sorry to hear that. Um, I am sorry to hear that. Yeah, that's not the greatest news. That is not the greatest news. So yeah, so that's the thing. We will have like a cut at some point where I'm gonna need to go down and pick up the thing, unless for some reason they decide to, come up. Sometimes that happens, but I have a lot of doubts about this. But yeah, that's the delivery for today. So that's the sad news. And then another side news, even though I don't think I would be able to potentially show you what I'm talking about right about here, on this view, I don't think it's noticeable. The cards that I'm doing that have the particles and the shiny star effect that I'm using on everything, these things, for some reason, in light mode only, and I don't know why, have some sort of a triangle on each corner that applies, like the overlay for the particles is also applying some triangles on the side, which makes absolutely no sense. And it's only visible, it's white triangle that is only visible in light mode. And I don't understand why these triangles are only there in light mode. So that's the thing. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So I need to figure that out, and I will. But yeah, um, I see. That's interesting. So you have one value in your blood work that came back weird, which is interesting. Which reminds me that I need to do mine for this month, and I forgot. Thank you. This month or next month, I forgot. I never know when I need to do some things. So that's the nice part. Other than that, if the rest is good, that is a good news. If it's just blood work and you have like one value that is off, it means that it's something that is potentially treatable, in a way that is easier than if it's like 3 or 4. But yeah, I mean, good to know at least, you know. Like as I said last time when you explained the situation the first time, um, just a simple fact of knowing is probably easing you a bit. Like just something is in there, but it's not that important, or it doesn't seem to be that important just yet. And even if it is that important, then just having the knowledge is the important part. So yeah, I do like the news. Um, mm, yeah, I don't know what RAOR means, but yeah, that sounds like RAW, which is like the MO screen. So that's not what it is. That is not what it is. Um, Small details. I don't think I'm gonna be able to see that on this screen. I am guessing this is gonna need to be somehow pulled in closer for you to be able to see these. And even then, I doubt it. Yeah, I lots of doubt, lots of doubt. Um, as in today's edition of things has been adding some noise in the background of the cards to give them a bit of texture, and in the background of the app to give it a bit of texture as well. And it's not good. It's been really not the best thing, and also really hard to figure out how to get that noise to come through. Again, in the preview, it's not gonna look like anything. It does look like a lot, though. It's a lot of noise, since the noise plugin now has finally the colored noise. And then I did like multiple layers, so you have a 100% layer, so that it's just one pixel equal one noise point. And then I did a 50% layer, so one pixel equal four noise point, which gives you an average, but also because the quality of the display is better, it's rendering properly. And then 75. So basically, what happens is my background are using the 50%. My cards are using the 75, and anything that needs to be above is going to use the 100, so that there is like a size difference in the noise for each of the elements to kind of reflect the hierarchy of information in terms of depth. So that's a small detail, but needs to happen, and now it's done. So yeah. And other news, even though we talked about it last time, and I said that I hated it, I still hate it. But that's where we are. It's done. I'm not going to touch it. I hate it. So yeah. Also, what type of glasses do you have? Do you know if it's like far-sighted, nearsighted, blind, something else? No. Well, that's bad. Well, it happens. Looks like I made a mistake. Good job, me. Yeah, now you look like a designer. That's what happened. You know, uh, once you have the glasses, the designer glasses, that's it. Um, yeah, that's one of the reason, or one of the thing that I have been like avoiding as well, because I know that I don't have the same vision that I used to have. Like, I used to be extremely good um in terms of what I could see from far away, close call, and so on. And then it deteriorated a tad. I can still see really well, but it's just because I've been having these glasses, all of the glasses that I have, for 7 years, 8 years now. I guess 8 years. um, 8 years of glasses, fake glasses, but they still are lenses, which are still like disrupting my vision a tad, and therefore I know that I have lost some capacity. If I were to get glasses for real, I fear um, it's going to be not life changing, but I'm hoping that it's not now. It will happen for sure at some point, but yeah, not right now. But we'll see. Um, the the darkening is not necessarily the best option, and it depends on many things, like the progressive lenses. I think that's the name that they have. The issue that I've seen most of the time is that in well lit environments that are not sun related, sometimes they get triggered, and you have um you, they basically you see less indoors when the light is too bright, which is good, but also like sometimes you don't want that. So that's a thing depending on the quality of the glasses. But if you have like good glasses, that's neat. I would say if you are in the current department, right? Um, oh, maybe they are like yellow E thing. It could be an option as well. Um, obviously, I'm biased on this one because I most of my glasses are coming from here. If you want like cool ass looking glasses, um, it's it's nice. Um, it's very cool, it's very simple. If let's say you like this, you have the ability to get like the frames in a way that is tailored to you, and so you could have them. Apparently this one you can't, but you could have them in prescription glasses, prescription lenses, and or um blue light filters and so on. So that's a thing that you could have, could play with if you wanted to. It's just the good thing, at least for me, the good thing is that they don't cost you uh too much compared to regular glasses. As always, I'm just a blue light filter person, so that's just clear glasses, very simple. No lenses, nothing. So it's easy. But that's a very good website potential for interesting looking glasses. So yeah, it happens. It's fun. Yeah, that's the main issue. And as we know from manufacturers and others, most of the glasses are made in the same 3 to 4 factories in China. Anyways, the frames are all the same, and therefore you end up with things that are like overpriced for no fucking reason. However, just to make sure, like the overall, I don't think I'm gonna see anything in there, but like the overall thing is that the frames themselves are really, really cheap at 60 to $30, depending on what they are. And then the prescription lenses are potentially like more expensive depending on what you have and so on. So that's something that you know, it really depends on you and your prescriptions and so on. Um, but yeah, I do like them. However, I'm gonna have so many hours today. Um, like you can find cheaper options for sure, but yeah. Shredder, hi, walk on in. How are you? The thing, let me check on that. Yeah, classical. That makes sense. That bitch. I don't have. I mean, these ones are kind of similar, I would say, because they are bigger. But you are going with a flat head with the transition with the branches. So yeah. Um. Hey, I'm good. I'm tired as always. Um. That looks like, yeah, that looks like a designer glasses. That makes sense. That makes sense. And for the price, I feel like this is expensive, but that's because I'm used to 80 bucks glasses, which makes sense. Um, the main thing, yeah,
Shredder_esports is now following.
Lord, I appreciate it. Welcome on in. What I have, obviously, I'm biased. But Zoff and other companies in Japan um, are so cheap. And specifically, they are so good and so cheap in so little time. Uh, Basically, these things are you go into the store, no appointments, nothing. You come in and you say, I need new prescription glasses. They do a checkup of your eyes. They give you the right prescription. They give you the glasses that you chose. And that take 20 minutes in total. And that's it. And then let's say you like these ones in green, obviously, right? That's a 11K, right? 11,000 yen. That's uh that's 62 bucks with the prescription, with everything. That always extremely biased on this one. Uh because it's just works. You come in and you're done. These green are pretty cool. So that's a thing. So Zoff is one of them. There is another brand that is like red, and I forgot the name. There is another one that is green, and I forgot the name as well. So yeah, um, eh, it happens. It's good. It's a good model, and it makes a lot of sense, and you can just get your prescription in no time. The thing that is really fun, at least for me, is you know, the the population in Japan is not a population of people that like glasses. There is a, a slight amount of discrimination against people that have glasses. There is a culture of contact lenses and not glasses. You get bullied if you have glasses, and you have specific names in Japanese that are associated with people with glasses. As in English, we call people with glasses four eyes. Um, that's not the case in Japan. The surname is basically just glasses. If you have glasses, your name is glasses. That's it. That you don't have anything else. Your personality is now glasses. And so in a lot of animes as well, you may see some of the characters have the name Megane, and Megane is glasses in Japanese. So that's a thing. But yeah, um, I don't think he is a dev yet. I think it's like me. I think he's not a dev yet. Hashtag not a dev ever. Still, still not. I've done a lot of progress though on this. Um, a lot of teeny tiny things have been pretty good. In the other things that we talked about last time, we had some issues with the sound. We figured out why the sound was breaking on my end. And so now I have a bit more understanding, which is good, but not that great. Mizzy, hi, welcome on in. Um, yes, Denny, 100%. The vast majority of AI training is going to be made on available websites and available things. So you end up with a ton of Tailwind and JavaScript related content, and therefore it makes a lot of sense for the AI to be like more efficient with these specs. Yes, specs. Can you see these? These nuts? No, I've added a bit of noise. I don't even know. Yeah, you kind of can see that, but it's like tiny. Good landing. I don't know why Stream Element is dead, but Stream Element apparently is dead, and I don't get it. Happy cooking, right about here. Music, congrats. Um, so yeah, that's the thing. And Music, I'm okay. I'm tired as always. I have officially a delivery that is supposed to be happening in the soon department, and right now there is officially 13 people before me, which is never true. And it just this makes no sense. The route that the courier is taking, the guy or the girl is on the bike as always, but I do not understand why they are making them take the longest route every fucking time. Right now, they are going from, they were like basically one street next to where I am, and they went back down way, way too far away, and now they are doing a very, very big circle. So it seems like they are doing spirals until they reach me, which makes no sense. So, you know, that's fun. We'll see. They will be delivering at some point, maybe, potentially. I don't know. If you care to know what it is new t-shirts because goddamn, that's tiny. Um, these ones, they are good. They were good. They were in size medium, and now I'm too fat for them. So size large has been taken. That's what happened. That is what happened. Um, but yeah, in the thing that you need to get through, Lenny, I think the if you're building things on your own and like not with Framer, not with Webflow, not with anything else, I think the the best option in the beginning might be to host that in a GitHub page. GitHub pages are free in the beginning, so that's an option. But then again, um, you will have to host, and with the domain name that you have, you can uh, do things. So that's an option. The old-fashioned way, getting like a good old FTP server, not server, like FTP client to just send the files and have the files there automated. I mean, that works as well. But I just know that Versa is not necessarily the good idea right now for inter countries situations. Political statement right here. But yeah, um, I would trust Tony on this. You know, I would trust Tony on this. I don't have enough experience on websites themselves. I mean, I have, but not necessarily the one that you're looking for. To be like, oh yeah, that's going to be better than anything else and so on. So yeah, the classic, the usual thing. Um, I mean, I don't think Stony should send you a list. I think Stony should send you the options. Like just that's what to use. That's it. Not a list. If you get a list, you will probably hesitate and not know and just be like, I don't know. Maybe this one, maybe that one, so on. It's just I don't think it's gonna be useful in the end. Um anyways. Small things we've had these pop up. So Boxbox and other Go app. I forgot how. I think this is Go app, and I think Boxbox is another one from Canal. Um, is doing a lot of really interesting things with glass. We kind of talked about this one last time, but they are adding like a ton of very cool concept and very cool things. What I do like is this curved progress thing for no reason other than, I like these. They're doing a ton of grain in the background like I did as well, and also a ton of very big fonts. The only thing that I haven't done just yet is the custom fonts uh, on SwiftUI. I will at some point, probably, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, these ones are really, really cool. So this is Go Club. Sorry, not Go App, Go Club. And it's a very interesting concept of like, as they say, and I do like what their tagline is for people that are like for anyone into habits or pretending to be. And I think the pretending to be is the most interesting thing because a lot of people are really into streaks and just into streaks and nothing else. So if you're doing your daily streaks, you are in the club. And so that makes sense. And so this one is pretty interesting. They are using it for like, I haven't vaped in a lot of time, I haven't drank in a lot of time, and so on. And it's pretty nice. Astro is nice, but yeah, that's another thing. Um, this one pissed me off for many reasons. Um, because they are saying that shaders in paper are insane and that we need this in Figma. There is some truth about it that we need this in Figma, yes. But the fact that the shaders in paper are insane is less than true. This is, I mean, the shaders that we have access to in paper are really shit. So, yeah, don't recommend. Don't recommend. There has been a ton of these popping in the past few weeks, I guess, where people have been experimenting with shaders again, but also this one is a music generator. So you have the beat at the bottom and then it changes something um like with how things are going to be behaving on the shader and the effect and so on. This is really interesting, um, interesting to see, interesting to play with. So, we like it. This one was interesting as well for me for many reasons, mainly because the pills of hims and hers are hexagonal. So obviously I'm, bestagones and so on. So I like this. The colors that they have chosen for these are really cool, and the shapes are really cool as well. So I do like this, and that's the only reason. The color in the background is really nice, and we like it. That's it. That's the only reason I saved it. Um, Someone asked maybe a better phone color, and I had this in my head right away when I saw the first tweet. And so Scarlett is in an agreement. We both like this. This is the best color in a phone so far. So, yeah. Um, we've had things like this. We talked about some of these later before, and so these ones are pretty interesting. This is a bring back of tan, so we end up with stuff that just is better in terms of user perception and pastel e and so on. The creation of this, if you are interested in building something that looks like this, is very simple. You can create these things in Figma in a way that feels kind of natural. It's a bit more complex to get the curve, but if you just want to do that in a way that is as a prototype, as something that, makes sense to you, you can simply have your element right here. Let's do a simple square in the center to show you what I'm talking about. And so the only reason or the only way that you can have that transition, let's make it bigger, not too big though. That transition to feel as if it was rotating, you just need to make that element like this. That's basically it. You simply compress it until it reached like a 1 pixel um, size, and you make it right about here, just outside of the view. And so that will give you the whole output, the whole rotation, um, pretty quickly. So, you know, it's really simple, and that's one way to do it. It's after that, it's just like a matter of making sure that the transition and the shadows and all of that are working. But yeah, um, not necessarily Cookie Monster with the circles, but yeah. But yeah, that's how it is. That's how it's made, and it's a very interesting thing. If you are not aware, S-Mouse has released a new plugin last week. Yes, last week, which is called Sky Plus, or Plus Sky, I forgot, which is in the same department as this. Valuable, hi, what on it? Have a good look. If you are interested, you will have the ability to get into the referral things links. There are some of them that contain the proper links, like the S-Mouse one, which is somewhere around here. This one is really good. Obviously, there is a ton of them in there. So highly, highly recommend. Can I do that? I don't know. Yeah, I kind of can do that. Goddamn. Well, that worked. So yeah, S-Mouse is really good. We do highlight most of what they are doing. I have affiliate links, obviously. So if you're interested in 3D, use that. Makes sense. But yeah, in the sad news, but also truth be told, They basically said, Twitch basically said that for the people that are watching multiple streams at once, if you're watching more than one, you will not count as a viewer on any of them anymore. And so in the lingo that they are using, it's a may. Our systems may determine that you are not actively watching. So that basically means that if the tab is not the active tab, or if you're doing something else and you have the stream in the background, you will not count as a viewer, which is really sad. And I don't like it, but it's also the reason why my viewer count has been tanking for the past 2 to 3 weeks. We've had streams at like 4 viewers compared to the usual 20. Most of you are not speaking in chat, which makes sense, and I appreciate you lurking. But right now, with what Twitch is doing, uh, yeah, that's not a good move. So that's sad, but it's something to take into consideration. And so now lurkers are not even important anymore. Like, I'm sorry, you are, but you're not. You need to be active in chat. And I don't remember exactly what they consider as active. Man, Brave, hi, welcome in. Um, yeah, that's the thing. That's fucking annoying though. I don't remember if you need to post a message every X amount of time in chat to be considered as an active viewer, or if it's something else. Yeah, I know. I mean, Stony's the same thing. I know that you are doing the same. I kind of remember that like Finite sometimes has multiple as well at times, and Cat as well. So it's just like a lot of viewers on Twitch are doing multiple streams at a time, which makes sense. You want to support as many people as you like, and you should be able to. But if the fact that you're not like actively in one stream and only one stream means that you can't support them, it means that you need to basically be on one stream, and when you want to hop on to someone else to just check what's happening there, you need to close the window of the first one. So it's, yeah, not the best. But I, not that I get it, but goddamn, goddamn. Anyways, I don't know if this is true. If it is true, these are the cutest buttons on the polo shirt. Well, I would love to see the global analytics of Twitch of numbers of viewers per day on Twitch, like active viewers. Because if they didn't count, or if they don't count lurkers anymore, I'm expecting a good 35 to 50% of their active user base to be uncounted, if not more. Just because people are usually lurkers. Like, there is a ton of things if we go into, you know, right there. The probability of the 2.9k here, or in Steffi, what the fuck are you doing? Uh, right now there is like 90 people, 95 people on this stream, and the chat is pretty. I mean, obviously, I just opened it, so not necessarily active, but you know, not necessarily the most active chat, and that is kind of sad. There is the extension that we've seen before that does give you the real count, but yeah. I mean, that's what it takes. You have a bad take, and instead of reflecting and saying, "Well, that was wrong," you double down on it, and it's a take that goes against your entire viewer base. It makes sense. Like, if I was to start saying thing like that goes against the designer point of view, that goes against learning things and teaching, I don't think anyone would be here. Not that, we have the same amount of viewers, but still, like I doubt it would sustain. So, the same thought of him? Really? No. I feel like you are on the opposite, or the same thought as me. I'm confused now. Ah, there, yes. Yeah, if he came back. So basically, even though I'm not really into the drama of Twitch and so on, but I'm aware of staying, if he came back the next stream after the backlash, or even, after a week of backlash, and just said, you know what, I reflected. I think you're right. I think my take was really bad, and let's see if we can support them. I feel like he would still be on the top streamer of the platform, but because he just said, "Well, I still think it's the dumbest idea ever." So there's that. There is that. We'll see. We'll see if that changes later. I doubt it. Um, I doubt it. Alex had a good move on this one. We talked about it before. We talk about it often when it comes to color. We don't talk about it often when it comes to radius. Um, but we are about 8 months away from zero pixel corners being the the thing. If you remember correctly, my stream overlay is ahead of its time every time. So the stream overlay that I had when I was in Japan 2 years ago was sharp. And then I came back and I used sharp with some small amount of corners, but not too much. And now most of the thing that I have on my stream overlay is mostly fully circular, was as circular as I can make it be. So I'm 2 years ahead of what will happen next year. So 2026 is probably going to be roughly mid-year, something where people are going to go back into sharp corners for a lot of companies, specifically the one that needs to be taken like more seriously than others. And so that is 8 months out is pretty true. I feel like it's going to be 6 months out, the beginning, 8 months out, a bigger wave, and potentially like 10 months out, trending. But eight is kind of fast. But yeah, most of the people that are currently designing, me included, within these, we are doing a very fat ass circular buttons. So we'll see. We will see. So that was good. I kind of laughed at this one for a personal reason. But Ilya saying that so many designers out there who think big of themselves but haven't got the slightest idea of what good design actually is. It's an interesting take. It's also a rage bait take for sure in order to pay for the McDonald's of the month. It makes sense. But there is something to be said about the ego of a designer that needs to be big enough in the beginning to thrive and sustain themselves in the design community, which makes sense. And then there is the humility of figuring out that your ego was too much in the beginning and that you need to learn stuff. So that take is half true. I've, again, from experience, you start with a big ego because you do something, it's well received, you appreciate it, you get an ego boost. You do that multiple times without really learning. Um, and then once you get to a certain point and you have the ego that is big enough, I would say, you end up in the situations where you meet other people, and other people are there to tell you, "Oh yeah, you do that this way. That's interesting. I do this way instead," um, which I think is faster, easier, better, or I use that color because I use that corner radius because based on and so on, and you learn through that. But you need to be able to understand and appreciate, recognize the thing that I've said to you and not take them as criticism. And for the first 3 years, you are usually taking them as criticism because you think highly of yourself. So, you know, it's an interesting take. You need to go through that thinking big of yourself for sure, but you need to be humble enough at some point to be able to say, well, I need to learn this thing specifically. And what you just said, Denny, is also true. Loving it enough to not stop. Maybe that comes through many, many things. Like a lot of potentials might be the money for some people, where they need to have some sort of a paycheck that is big enough so that they won't quit or won't stop. And for some people, it's just like the fact of designing is interesting enough for them to continue. So yeah, it's a thing. But yeah, that take is interesting. It has some truth to it, but there is a bit of a slight adjustment on you need to go through that phase um, in the ego to make sure that you understand what's happening, why it's happening, and so on. So, small thing. Small thing. We do like it though. Moving on. If you don't know what that is, you missed one of the activities from last week, which was annoying, but it happened. If you don't know what this is, good on you. And if you want the context, somewhere around here, Trump decided to say something about China getting more tariffs, and then the stock market just dropped. And yeah, that's that's the representation right there. It was going up, it was really good, and then it's just saying China and down. That happened. It took $20 billion off. Um, it's specifically in crypto markets. We've seen really really bad. No, it is the thing that we also have seen is the amount of people that have done shorting position on bitcoins and other assets basically 30 minutes before the announcement, and that made I think 88 billion. No, 88 million. I think one person made 88 million in the 30 minutes afterward because of the shorting, like short positioning. So that was kind of crazy. Yeah. But it's a cool representation though. That's artistically speaking. I feel like these star report, and then there is a teeny tiny eye in the center, which we like. It's fun. It is fun. Moving on. um, these ones are pretty interesting. I feel like it's all some sort of a not a pattern, but kinda these illustration types that are combining very flat icons and just linear wireframe, which is the name in Blender, like when you are creating a wireframe of your 3D object, but in combination with some very slight gradients, is a bit of a trend, I guess, maybe. And it's a very interesting trend. And so these ones are pretty cool nonetheless. Just out of the blue, not necessarily from anything that I know, but like that was kind of fun. So, you know, that's a thing. We know that Atom has been building something. I'm not
Jeroen
aware.
van Wissen just resubscribed for 18 months. Jeroen7 logo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ryan 7 logo. That's pretty good. Welcome on in. Thanks a lot for the 18-month. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot for the sub. Welcome back, old man. So yeah, there are things they have been teasing us for the past week, I guess. And so in 2 days, which is technically today, we are supposed to have the announcement. And we'll see, that's the wrong letter, Stony. Much better. Um, so yeah, we'll see what Atom is gonna release. I'm not confident that it will release voice control ever. I hope. I wish. I wish just voice control. You know, simple voice control. It would have been so good. It would be so good. But yeah, that's a very interesting thing. Um, Same thing. This is a bit of a pattern. I'm building something that is kind of similar in a way, and I've been nope, brain, words, nope, not that one. Praising is not the right word that I'm looking for, but promoting maybe yes, promoting is going to be good. Um, I've been promoting big text for you know uh, for the past few years now, and it's finally coming on. So Boxbox that we talked about really like quickly earlier um, has a lot of very very big text and big text presentations here and there, which are really really cool. But the fact that it's coming up as well on other platforms, other apps, other things, and so on, like these big ass text on the Apple ecosystem is also something that influenced it for sure. Um, but it is a bit of a trend. It's really good. I like it, obviously, not biased. I don't have it here. God damn it. I should have it run. I should have it run in the background. Of course. Didn't you land last week, Stony? Wasn't that I think? I think that might have been. So yeah, big ass text like here are a bit of a trendy thing right now. So just keeping that in mind for your creations could be interesting. Um, yeah. This one was really cool for everything they had for the research and the presentation of their new branding. I like most of what they have actually created. It looks really cool, and we do like it. So yeah, that's the thing. Um, Presentation are nice as always. As always, this one is such an amazing presentation for a credit card. I like it a lot. I also obviously like the fact that the card itself is a transparent plasticky thing. Some of my first cards from my current bank were transparent, which were really good. and we could see the NFC um, coil. Yes, the NFC coil inside as well. So that's pretty cool. So this whole thing is really interesting. It also has too many layers, to be honest. But for the sake of the presentation, just getting this is really cool. That's it. That's it. Denny, this one was for you. I save a lot of things often, and I'm like, that's for Denny, but Denny's not here right now. And yeah, I feel like this is something that you could potentially do for plan and for the visual representation that you currently have of the plan logo or of the squiggles that you have added in the background of things. Um, Mark has been doing a lot of very cool and similar illustration, I would say, that you might be interested in just, taking a look at closely, a bit closer, and just experiment, you know? Um, it's a very simple thing, right? When you look at it from afar, and if I just open the static version, you have one loop that is a 3D element and one second loop that is a 3D element as well. And then you have these small lines that get animated, but that's it. They just get animated and nothing else. They have some sound as well, so obviously, but yeah, it's just small lines around the path, the main path, and it changes how things look, and I feel like it's pretty good. I don't know exactly what you mean by the moving to product design in that company because I don't really know what plan is doing as product specific. Are you doing like physical product? I have doubts on that. Maybe you are. I think the gradient inside is either rotating the circles or simply the light reflection with the background and so on. So yeah. Um, um yeah, that's an interesting thing as well. Misha has another thing that I'm not a big fan of, obviously, but he's been building a secondary app, which is an app for his official cold plunge, and there are some things that just makes no sense. Um, but yeah,
Katek
yeah.
Soho just resubscribed for 38 months. On Few Phone with Zay Mother, hello short and chat.
Welcome in. Thanks a lot for the resub. Appreciate it. Um, Good job. I'm hoping you are getting a cut. I forgot. Like you said 250, but I'm hoping it's better than that. Grace, work on it. Good drop. Um, that's Olka. Hi, welcome on in. Welcome back. How are you? How have you been? Um, that's what I'm talking about. Chris, welcome on in. I don't know why Stream Element doesn't seem to be happy to just, um, telling you that you landed. I thought that was a thing, but apparently it's not. So yeah, it happens. I'm sad about it. Congrats on landing. Congrats on landing. Um, so yeah, that's a better cut for sure. For sure. Um, so this thing. that I need to, talk about here. If you have ever used or have a ship in the bottle or something else, something like this, you need to realize that the duck doesn't change direction. It stays the same direction. So it can slide from one side to the other without turning in or out. Like it's just how physics works. I understand, you know, if it goes from the left to the right, you point it to the other side and so on. But it would make way more sense to just wiggle through and be the same of the one that is on the app icon, because their app icon ID that they had posted some days ago is pretty cool. It very much looked like something that has been generated by ChatGPT. I'm not gonna lie. Um, it it does, but it it's a good looking app icon ID. There are a lot of things that just don't work and will not work in the grand scheme of things, specifically for iOS apps. But um, it's uh, it's interesting. And so if they had kept that specific ducky on that direction and just make it float in both ways with the butt and the face during on the same size, it would make more sense. But yeah. And also, yes, it is an entirely uh, essential thing to do with the gyroscope. Like, there is no question about it. No question about it. Anyways, moving on. This one was really cool. It's just a very simple transition piece of shaders, like we talked about on last week's stream on Friday. It's P5 again, and it's really good. I don't know exactly what they have done and how they have done it. I would think what could, and that's personal opinion and artistic direction, I would say for me, what would make this more interesting is if one single was a different color, maybe a bright green or bright red or something, and was a rogue agent that had the ability to move in diagonals, that would change the entire thing because your eyes would be looking at the thing in one go, weirdly, and then hope for the best. So, yeah, this is really cool. I wish, again, you know, it's P5. And so if you want to take a look and, look at the code, maybe take a look at that. Again, it's not that complex. Based on what we can see, we can't see much, but like, not that complex. So one rogue would be pretty interesting, and Okaz is also someone that has done a lot of others. We talked about some of their other things before, as far as I remember, um, and it's always really good. So yeah, I'm still a designer. I can't do math. Can't do math. Can't do math though. But that's taking me out in another way. But yeah, they have been doing a lot of really really cool creative coding and things with P5JS. So I'd recommend their account and other things that they have done. Um, that's a thing that was for Stony specifically. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. I have no fucking clue of what it is and how it works and so on. I just know that it is apparently a new open source local conversion utility, and that could potentially be interesting for you in terms of file format conversion and other things for like movie and medias. See how they have built it and so on. So just for the sake of saving things, I just had that. I feel like maybe there is something that could be interesting for you when you have someone that, you know, adds something in a library and or from a library, and the file extension is not necessarily the right one, or maybe saving it in an MKV format is better than saving it on something else for different devices. You know, sometimes it happens. It could be interesting, but again, I don't know. I don't know enough. Just has an interesting things potential. Maybe. I don't know. Haven't even gone there. Haven't even gone there. Um, yeah. I mean, maybe there is something about it that would be able to work. Um, I think the on-device part when you're doing the self-hosted situation, um, I feel like that might be the thing. But that's why I'm saying, like, if you are interested, or if this might be interesting, I don't know, on seeing what they are doing and how they are converting things based on the code, because it is open source and you have access to everything that they have done so far. It could be an interesting learning thing again, but I don't know enough. So that's why I just mentioned it. Just mentioned it. Um, moving on. This is a pattern. We've talked about it before. That navigation tray things, bottom enclave element is a pattern that has emerged from 2022, I think. We started seeing these in 2022, 2023, and then now it's just like most of the people that have been working on things since these years are publishing and getting a lot of these. Not saying that as a bad way, right? It's a good navigation trait. It just feels cramped for a lot of people that just don't understand how things work. And I am on the opposite side of things, where I'm having the navigation bar that is raised and the content that is deeper. So yeah. Um so yeah. Yakuri, hi, welcome on in. How are you? How's the day going? It is a pretty good approach in a way. The reason, no, one of the thing that's not gonna work. Um, one of the thing that I have as a reference is I'm guessing Joy Software is a. I was right. Joy has a very similar environment where the card is going from the bottom. Like that's their initial thing at the top that you're seeing, and then when you are expending your task for the day, you end up on this. So it's an opposite situation where you are just seeing how things work, and the tray is the way. So I'm personally preferring the tray coming on top of rather than potentially covering the navigation. But I do understand it. And it's again, it's not like the first one that I'm seeing that are doing the same thing. So that is an interesting point, interesting navigation section. And for me, there is something that just doesn't work based on the visual displacement of the distance in between the edge of the screen and the edge of what the user has as content. Like there is a lot of wasted space right there, which you need to have because of this thing, but you could have aligned these four icons in the available space to make it like homogeneous. Yes, right there to make it more sense. So, eh, interesting nonetheless. And yeah, moving on. This one is really cool. I'm not saying that this is going to be the next evolution of um, liquid glass because this is bubbly, so bubble thing. But yeah, that could be a very interesting addition for Apple to change their UI a bit. You know, that's a very interesting thing. I don't know exactly how it's been made. Um, Not in terms of printing, in terms of the code itself that went with it, but that's a very cool concept of a stop motion animation thing, and it works really well. The printing has probably been the most tiresome thing to do, and then just placing them on every single page and play with it. They've done a really good job. Yeah, it is. I do think that the brain, please work. The creation, that's the wrong button. The creation of these, for example, what went into their system? Did they find the receipts and then print on top of, or did they create each and every single receipts on their own? And so, um, you know, I don't know, but it looks cool nonetheless. I'm guessing they are printing the receipts as well, or the not the frame. But yeah, it is a long process, and the reward is really cool. I think it looks really good. So talking about it, that's what I thought as well, Stony. I wasn't sure because I don't know shit on that, but yeah. This one was just because it is pastel. That's it. Just reminding everyone that pastels are coming back. And this one was funny in September, and now rebranded apparently. What pissed me off is the fucking space here in between the M and the P. They have the space to do all the letters properly, and same issues with the single. Like that was really good for all the placements, but this one is just so bad. So yeah, yeah. Obviously, it is coming from shit like this.
I don't think he felt anything after the
You know,
crash.
but it's fun. It's fun nonetheless. So the thing that I was talking about earlier, the Sky Plus, yes, that I was right. The Sky Plus plugin is really, really good for what you get. You get a very realistic version of the sky, and you can play with so much realisticness for the lighting of your scenes inside of Blender. As we said, it works in EV and in Cycle, I think, which is really good. So, highly recommend, as always. Smell stuff is really good. The output are really good. So if you're into 3D, that's that's a point. That's a point. Um, so this one was kind of similar, Denny. Same thing. It's the same logo as you, kinda. So you know, having a bit of a closer look. That's the announcement. I'm unaware of what we are about to see, but I'm seeing multi-streaming with multiple people. I'm seeing potentially creating overlays directly inside of Atom. I'm seeing multiple um like canvases size. Goddamn, that was a brain issue. And then this is unsure. I don't know. But they are about to post something in like 2 hours, basically, because they post every 24 hours, which will probably reveal what they are working on and what they have been working on, and we'll see things. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Um this one pissed me off so much. For no particular reasons at all. No reason. I don't know why that pissed me off, but goddamn. They make such like a big deal of having some of the greatest design that they have, and then they fuck up this and that. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. 1 second. Mm-hmm. Apparently, delivery guy decided to come faster. I don't know. Give me a sec. Badass delivery. All right, cool. So that's so sad because the overall thing on Go Club that we talked about earlier, um, it's just they've made a really, really good overall design for stuff. And so, you know, similar to these. It's like the design, so sad. So sad. Like, look at these. I think yeah, they are above on the list of things, but like, these are so good. They've been doing like a very, very good job on Boxbox to get like the tracks in 3D. And I forgot if they are rotating or they have like a bit of a gyroscope related things, big ass tactile, big ass text in the background, grain and so on, and then that. So sad about it. I am so sad about it. Um, but yeah, it looks interesting nonetheless. Nonetheless. And so going back to the issue that I had last week, apparently this is something that is not just me, which is good. But the audio is crackling, and it's crackling in my ears, crackling on speakers and so on. Apparently, it seems to be linked to the simulator. So when the simulator is running, sound is breaking. For some reason, macOS Tahoe latest versions is a bit better, but not necessarily the best. So, that's something to take into consideration when you are building and using Xcode on macOS and you have sound needed. So, yeah, there was some sort of a fix inside of the replies. I tried it, didn't fix anything. So, you know, we'll see. We will see. Um, not much to be honest. This one for Yan, I feel like this is something that Heaper could take, specifically the colors at the bottom in the illustration and so on. But yeah, that's a very cool screen. Not really a screen, but like screen nonetheless. So it's fun. That was a cat. That's it. Nothing else. Just a cat. Um, I don't think these are really interesting in any way, shape, or form. This one was interesting to me for specific reasons. These are App Store screenshots, as we talked about last week. And I've known that Apple sometimes reject screenshots that don't contain the actual UI of the app or software that the people are sending through Apple. And so I fear that these could be rejected based on the fact that they are only showcasing small portion of the app and the product and not the entire things. So there might be a need for something that showcases an iPhone or somehow, um, because of that. So interesting. Maybe these are the four that are like the storefront and so on, and maybe there is like two others that we don't see right now that contains the app itself. But again, something to take into consideration when you're building something. Just remember the Apple guidelines, the material guidelines, whatever guidelines for whatever platform you're using and building for, because you know it makes sense. It makes sense. And then last one is Pharrell again doing a really good job. This one has so much detail from all the thing that we've seen and talked about for the past few months, now I guess years, with Pharrell specifically. And yeah, this card is looking really, really good. If you had to decompose it, the layout is very simple. What makes it interesting is the simplicity, but also how things are textured. The card itself has such a slate texture, like a stone slate texture with the highlight at the top that just glow through, but then the bottom is still dark. These double edge divot border dividers is a very 2000 detail, but it works really well. There might be something that would be needed to be added, transformed, which might be the logo of the company in order to be on theme, like using something like a liquid glass icon situation where, we end up with black and white icon for everything except this bitch, because Arc doesn't want to comply for some fucking reason. But, like having something that is system-based, if possible, that would be interesting to change the logo here and get something that is monochrome. But other than that, this is really, really cool. And they've done a really good job. The other one is more debatable, obviously. But yeah, there are some details again for that section. I don't like this though, but that's just a me thing. That is just a me thing. But yeah, other than that, that's most of it on Twitter. As always, some of the things so far have been very small details, very nice overall UI. You know, small stuff. So, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, it works. It does work. And Yaron, what do you want to order? You know, are you interested in the same thing again? Or do you want to go for something new? Something more interesting, maybe? I don't know. I would say that's the only thing that is kind of sad about the app itself is that I'm not there to recommend you anything to buy, and I could recommend you things to test, but yeah. Yeah, these at the bottoms are mine, obviously. I'm also using them here. I had a bit of an issue with the citrus section and the animalic section. I do feel like these two are not necessarily giving us what we need. Animalic is big, and citrus is just the sun, so that's debatable. There are other things and other apps, icon specific, that I'm debating changing. The reason why I'm not changing them right now is because they kind of have uh, things that help, of course. Um, Basically, there is a ton of stuff in SwiftUI and in other elements. I kind of talked about it last time. Um, Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I go into that zoomed in it, let's use right, that icon. If I do symbol rendering mode, yeah, hierarchical is going to be pretty good. And then if I get my symbol not effect, I forgot if it's like mm. I'm gonna need to copy paste rather than doing anything else on this one. I can't type that by memory. From memory? On memory? Doesn't matter. So the drop circle fill that I have right here, basically when you are going into the hierarchical section and you go into the animation, and you take the draw on or bounce or wiggle or something, and you make that continuous wiggle, you will have things, for example, that are based on the layer itself. And so there is a lot of these icons and symbols, like I think it's the sign. Um, I think it's the signature. I forgot. And it's not the wiggle, it's the draw on thing where, like that animation is pretty interesting, and obviously it will never like repeat and so on, but these are built in, baked in the SF symbols, and therefore if I'm using them, and if I'm using SF symbols by default, I'm getting some of these animations given to me for free, rather than here, if I'm using my own icons, I'm gonna need to get in and do the animation myself. So that's the thing that I'm not sure. I'm uncertain about this, and maybe at some point I will, but also maybe not. So we'll see. But yeah, that is the reason. So most of the icons, most of the things that I have in the app are based on my own icons for many reasons. But yeah, I don't even know if that works today. Yeah, it doesn't work. God damn. God damn. Also, that sound alert doesn't work anymore. It's really sad. It's really sad. So yeah, so that's the reason for the icons. There is like a ton of things that I want to do. I wanted to make this drop be glass as well, like this thing in the background is glass, but it doesn't work. For some reason, there is something that just doesn't work, and it's sad. It is kind of sad. Mhm. The glass is cool though. um, if you do something like this, and let's do frame of 100 by 100 is really bad. I think a 24 might be pretty good. And let's do 120 on this. If I'm placing that rectangle above my button that is glass, it's going to be reflecting on the edges. So I could play with this whole thing, just have, I don't know, a bit more of an interesting shape, somewhere, something, maybe some corner radius, maybe some gradients, maybe something else that just give that glass uh, a more interesting behavior. And I've tried this. I attempted to make like some of the more interesting things, but the glass is just not working. The main thing that I've done is basically this, having the shimmer on the the shape itself, in hopes that um, I would be getting something that highlights the button itself. If you look closely, you might be able to notice that some of the background is changing here and there, but it's not going through enough. And that's kind of sad. So again, something just sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not working. We have a transparent button, right? That is transparent, in which case you end up with that effect in the background, but it's just not working as intended. So I don't think clear is going to be an option here. Yeah. If we do just glass, we do have something that is potentially interesting. Potentially interesting. We can see the top and the bottom. They do these things. Um, I guess clip shape on this one is going to be capsule. Mm. To make it make more sense, if I go with extra heavy. Yeah, that's one of the options. It's not necessarily working, but it's one of the options. Anyways, I need a pee though. 1 second. Anyways, a red theme. Oh my god. It's not that red in it. It's kind of pinkish. I mean, I do like it, but still. So yeah, that's a thing that I wish I understood better in terms of how SwiftUI works and how the layering work. But for now, you know, it's working. It's doing what it's supposed to do. So at some point, I'm gonna be done. As I said, like I think this week is gonna be the week where I apply or send it for review. I'm gonna probably do that tomorrow. I'm hoping. And I just need to make sure that everything is in order, like my terms and conditions are in order, that my privacy policies are in order as well, and accessible from the website, accessible from the app itself, and so on, that my like payment section is unlocked and so on. So all of that is the important parts that needs to happen, but it's going to be soon. And when that happens, we will have a released version, which is good. um, so, yeah. That happens every single month, and I don't understand why. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Anyways. That's most of the things. That is most of the things. Mr. Tony, where are you on the native app? Are you still native E? That seems okay. Hmm. It's an interesting thing. I guess the mini player is simple enough, but yeah. Going back to one of the things that Theo have said in the past, in which I agree and I'm sad about, but it's kind of the truth. Um, as a designer, I don't have any understanding of code and databases and so on. And what he did was like a range of fear based on your proficiency in code. And if you are like in front end dev, you try to avoid um, back end stuff and databases and so on. When you are mobile dev, even though you do everything, you try to not do databases and so on. And what I fear the most for you and from me to you is the linking in between all of the platforms that you have, like the logic, the core logic of how a server is supposed to work, the core logic of how the content of the app is supposed to take from the server, that is the user server, that has been set up by the user and not you, and in which you don't really have a say. You do, but you don't really have a say on what they put on it and how they behave and what their connection is and how like alive and live that thing can be. That is what I fear the most for the product. So, yes. And then the sad thing, which is not that sad, but it's working. Um, yeah, but you don't control the user. That's the that's the thing. But you also do understand stuff. What I mean is that if I had to create something that complex in terms of relationship in between mobile web, desktop app, server, and so on, I don't exactly know how I would be able to do so on my own as a mobile dev. Not really, you know, that type of thing. Yeah, that's the thing. And I don't know how, but you're getting good design recommendations. I don't know who did that, but someone did that. Uh, but yeah, that's the thing that is like the scariest for me. Of I really don't understand anything there. Um, I don't know. I'm not sure about that though. I have doubts at times. But yeah, that's the thing that is kind of complicated, specifically for anything that is related to cross device linkage. I guess for the iOS apps, that's the thing that is the reason why I'm building on iOS and not on Android most of the times, is because just like the thing that I have on my phone right now are automatically like synced with my iPad with no issues. I have nothing to do basically unless or other than activate something and just say, well, that's synced now. And now it does sync and I'm happy with it. But yeah, that's the thing that is kind of complicated. Um so yeah.
Ways on the way is now following.
Ways on the way is pretty nice name. Welcome in. How are you? Who are you? How did you find the stream? Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Yeah, we do some design stuff around here. If you have any design question, feel free to ask, as always. If you have some things for me to take a look at, if you want like a design review and so on, feel free to ask as well. Even though today is officially a learning day, yeah, also we have some so's apparently right now. That happens. Anyways, yeah. If you have a link, share a link in chat, and we can take a look at it. For sure. For sure. I've been for the street creds for you because you're kind of new, apparently, based on the fact that you just followed. I've been a designer for the past 20 years, roughly. So I've been working on a lot of things. Not everything, but almost everything. So, yeah. Um, it's always bad in the beginning, and then you improve upon it. I mean, I have shared so many things in the past in here. Do I have it here? I probably have it here. One second. This right here is what I had in my head, right? That thing is what I had in my head 2 months ago. That's the only, that's technically the only design I did for this app. And right now, as of today, this is where we are. We have navigatable, um, like cards in the home screen with what we need to do. We have the collection view that can change, you know, transition between states and so on. All that is something that was improved upon like through time. So yeah, makes sense. It makes sense. If it's bad, it's only good to improve, you know. Um yeah, I mean that makes sense. So let me give you some how it works so that you understand what I'm saying. Maybe, I don't know. The first pass, I'm gonna go really, really quickly across the entire website. Once I went through the entire thing, I'm gonna go back up and give you some of my feedback. You might hear me say that's bad, that's good, that's interesting along the way, but it's really, really fast. And once it's done, we can talk about it. So, that's where we are. So let's see. You've worked for Xiaomi, apparently. Which is pretty good. Which is pretty good. Interesting behavior. Choice. Hmm. 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 Aye. It's a very simple. It's a very simple page. Hmm. That's debatable. That is debatable. But I get it. I get it. All right. Cool. I think I've seen everything other than the contact us, which is probably a mail to. It is. Kind of. No, we're good. No, we're not good. You're missing one pixel at the bottom. Oh, for fuck's sake, I forgot that. Yeah, I think you're missing one pixel right here. Anyways, so you have a good structure overall. You have an interesting color scheme. Everything is really purple, but you have multiple purples that you have selected in all of that. So your icon set or illustration set that is, I know this illustration set, which is pretty useful. It has like most of the illustration you need. So that's the, that's what you need. Easy. Congrats. I'm kind of sad that Stream Element doesn't tell you that you've dropped in, but you have. And Stony, I think you're gonna make it, but too much on the side, sadly. Ah. Sorry, I saw something. That was crazy. Let me just anyways, back to this. So these illustration types are interesting, but I feel like you would benefit from not using them and potentially using like another set if you have access to something else. Other than that, these illustrations are good. The main issue is that this is an indigo color and you're using a purple slash pink transition here. So that's a bit of a mistake, not a mistake, but a mistake. This is a bit empty. Usually that section for clients is that height and it's potentially a tad higher. So I would have it right here. That's just a small detail in spacing. That section is really good. It's glitching because my computer is glitching. Don't worry about it. It's not a you thing, that's a me thing. But yeah, that reveal is really interesting. I would say the fact that it's not fully revealed in the center of the view is not necessarily a good thing. The fact that it needs to be here might not be what you want the user to see. Like you kind of want them to be able to read the entire thing, though they can. But here, that might be a tad complicated. So that's small detail. These ones are interesting. Not for a lot of reasons, but these ones are interesting. I would say you don't need the secondary icons at the top. You have the illustration for the visual appeal. The icon is being there and added and bring you more noise and more unnecessary white space. So your top section has a lot of white space above the illustration and next to the icon itself. So by removing that, you would have something that is a bit tighter. So that's to me, would be a bit better. The content, I'm not reading shit because I'm usually not reading shit. Let me just refresh to see if something happened. No. So other than that, small details. This section is pretty good. I would say one of my most annoying trait here is you have a lot of spacing issues where things could be either coming in views like faster, but also not really. Like it's good, but it's not great, if that makes sense. These ones had like an illustration animation thing, but only one has that. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is you have this white space on the side, which is due to the fact that you have the numbers at the top. So that is something that I don't, first of all, I don't know if the numbers are necessary. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if they are, I don't feel like you would miss anything by having them above the titles. And that would make things fast, like spread across the cards themselves a bit better than what you have now. So small details on this one for the organization, but yeah, this section is pretty good. The numbers attract the eyes when they are popping in. Like that's pretty good. It's nothing really specific to say on here other than maybe reduce the amount of text. If that's an option for you and you can like reduce this from 6 lines to 3, so basically half the length here, one less line, maybe 2 lines would be good. That would help for people to read the thing, and that will also help you to have this thing be a specific width and height that would match with your title plus your 3 lines. So you would have cars that are like homogen kind of across the entire site. I think that would be pretty good, but personal. This section is good. The opening is neat. It does the thing that I don't like, but that's fine. That's just a me thing where, it closes the other responses when you are opening another one. That makes no sense to me. Sometimes people want to do, you know, obviously going to be biased on this one, uh, but sometimes people want to do this and they want to read all of your FAQ at once. And so what's happens is they arrive on the FAQ section and they just do that so that they can just read everything and then it's done and they don't have to think about it. So here, if you don't let me open everything, I'm gonna have to do like more clicks. And I don't like that, but that's just a me thing. This section is good. It's a bit purple, but it's good. So I would say that's the main thing here it's the spacing for the illustration section. You do have that. It is. You do have a ton of these. Like again, UI8. Um I have been working with them for a long time, so I can recommend them. But the one that you have are very similar than some of the others that already exist in here. Some of the first one that we have put in place in that whole thing, but you may be able to find icons and illustrations that are similar in terms of the design themselves and making sure that they match with the rest of your preferences and so on. Again, plenty of options. I feel like these are really brand new, very much now type of illustration. However, and I agree with what you might be saying, for some people, $30 for the illustrations is kind of expensive. So if you can't afford them, or if you don't want to pay $30 for something that you are not sure would be good enough for you, or you know, whatever, maybe don't. That's also an option. And even though I'm not recommending it, if it's paid on the internet somewhere, it's also free on the same internet somewhere else. Always. So, not saying you should, because you shouldn't. But if you want them for free, there is probably an option somewhere where it's available for free. Specifically UI8. UI8 is such a pirated resource that it's going to be available somewhere. But yeah, like these things probably going to be an option for you to just get better illustration overall, but also more personality in terms of what you could bring to your website and so on. Like when you're looking at this, um, right, it has a very different feel and it might not be good. It might not be your style or your vibe, but finding ones that could be better in there or in somewhere else is a good thing. I think you're using humans. The I forgot Uh, like there is a yeah, this one I think it's very similar, at least to me in terms of design. I know that humans is free. Yeah, I think they're free. I forgot. Um, but yeah, it is. So you could use that as well. Similar vibe, similar illustration type, and so on. I do have a, a brain prejudice, maybe bias, kinda, but not a positive bias, mostly a negative bias. These illustration types are very slack second gen. So 2016 coded. And so that's why what I'm seeing here is kind of 2016, 2018 coded. Maybe not even 2016, 2015 coded. So delayed and outdated. So that's why I'm bitch, recommending a different type of illustration potentially would help. But overall, it's pretty nice. This one stands out because of this section that doesn't really match. And this one is a very different one with a lot more details. Um, so yeah, um, like illustration. Anyways, the thing that I wanted to do though is here, and yes, as okay, I would probably be able to do that at some point, maybe, probably. Um, uh Oh, I wish that was not. Yeah, that makes more sense to me. It's not perfect because it doesn't resize to the content of the card itself, but without the icon, it's just less bloated. And yeah, less bloat is always good. And then on these, if we get, oh, you've done this, I see. If you get your piling rate is at 50. If I put that back to not 50, um, I'm trying to get the whole padding thing, but apparently you have like so much padding defined on this entire thing. That's crazy. So many sub level stuff. It's incredible. Yeah, that would make more sense. Um, to me, in terms of card design, unless you really need something with the numbers. And then my personal trait is coming in on this, where I have a thing that I do all the time when I need a card. Um, so if you have a card that, let's say that's the card itself, right? And you need to have them numbered. Let's say this is the number 8 for some fucking reason. I would have it somewhere around here. The card itself being something that is clipping so that it doesn't go through, and make that like, I don't know, 220 or something that is just massive, and then simply have this with some sort of a gradient that goes from 100% opacity to 0% opacity, and then change the opacity of this thing to be just a smidge of something. So maybe 24 would be good enough. So I would have that in the background of my cards, either here or at the top or on the other side or some, wherever it needs to be. But usually I'm putting it there because like 3 is going to be good to read, 8 as well, and so on. Um, so that's the main thing that I do all the time. And so you have all of your content that can go on top. It doesn't really matter because people will really easily recognize 1, 2, 3, and then fill in the gap for all of the other cards. That's something that I do most of the times, rather than having like actual numbers. I'm just having like background stuff that reminds of the numbers. But yeah, that's small things. You're saying indexes on the left. You should take full width. Yes, I think. If you're talking about that, I think, yeah. I think we agree. Um, so yeah, other than that, for the first page, nothing really stands out as something that needs to be changed. So, other than what I just mentioned, for your portfolio section, that's something that I personally, and this is something that a lot of designers have been recommending as well. Right now, if this is your freelance gig thing, if I arrive here, I have scrolled the entire website. I have not seen a single thing you've done except this website. So I have no clue of what you're doing, what you might be good at, what you might be worse at. Like, I have no clue. If I'm going in your portfolio, I can see things. I can check, okay, you've done this thing. I can see the full project. I can see the previews. Same thing for the second one, and so on. So again, this is my website, so that would make more sense. um, but if I'm loading this is my own agency. I haven't scrolled a millimeter, which is basically doesn't exist. A pixel. I haven't scrolled a pixel. You can see what I do. You can contact me, and you have seen some of my past work. If you are like willing to stay there, you can see some of my past work. Not necessarily the work that is the most interesting to you specifically, but it's like right there. You arrive, you know exactly what I've done. You know that I've done some branding, I've done some desktop, I've done some app design. Like that's at a glance when you load, that makes sense. And then once you went in, you can reach the stuff and be like, okay, cool. I have like more information, more details, more stuff related to what has been created by that person on specific projects. But if I'm not really interested in clicking on content and diving deeper into their content, I already have a preview right here. That's the most important thing. So for portfolio, personal portfolio, uh, I'm not that into showcasing things. It's important to have stuff at the top, but it's not the most important. Like right here, the fact that you can scroll a bit and then you have my past work and then past experience. That's also a very personal thing because it's personal portfolio. But for anything else, like this one, which is like my company portfolio, company website, it makes a lot more sense to have the details at the top. So for you, I would probably have some of your portfolio pieces, if possible, on the homepage. Something that just, help you into showcasing what you've done. Other than that, um, I haven't looked on the project section, but apparently that doesn't exist just yet. And then you have your services, which I feel like are good enough, but it's the same issue with the illustration section where they seem out of place and outdated a bit, or very different design. Like these ones are extremely sharp, and maybe that's the issue I have with them. Um, the overall design feel and design language that they are using is way different than your buttons, your fonts, your other cards in the whole website. So that might be the reason. I don't know. um, but yeah, the thing that we do recommend is specifically for freelancers is to not have too many pages and to have as much details about the past work on the first page. So if I'm loading your homepage, I should be able to know what you do, what you've done, how much you cost, and what's your contact info, right? So for now, I have what you do, contact info, and you have the view our work right here, which requires me to click on something, which will supposedly send me to the portfolio. But if I had something that was loading here, and then I had like 3 images rotating, I don't know, something, that would be enough for me. Just for as a hint of something has been created. But yeah. Small details other than the page designs. I feel like this section needs to be sticky. It needs to stay there so that I don't have to go back up to change page. And I can just replace the carousel testimonials with some project. You can, yes, you can. However, you should not like replace it. Which you know, sorry, you have it here. My bad. Um, you you could have that on the first page. As okay, I think that will answer your question in a way. Kind of. Um, if we just go there, it's going to be an option. Let's go into resources. Let's go into template, and let's look into portfolio. I know we have something. In the creative templates, even though it doesn't really matter. But if we go into the portfolio section, you will see a lot of them. Let's use one that is good. We'll find one that is good. I don't know if that's going to be an option. Maybe. This is potential. Yeah, this is kind of big. I feel like this is like different home pages. That's enough, for example, where you have, yeah, you can share your list where you have like your previews of the thing that you've worked on before, and then, it transition to a nice page and so on. God damn. So that's interesting, but there is something that is needed. Let me go back into like I guess, service is going to be enough for what we're trying to do. Um, all right, we have everything. um, That's a good question. I don't prefer any specific for inspiration for logos. Um, I would say rebrand is one of them for sure. I forgot if it's rebrand.io. Um, or it is. It's not. It's vibrant.gallery. This is a paid website, so take that into consideration. But it's really good, and it's also a very good way for you to get like inspiration of what is currently trending in terms of rebranding for other companies. So that's something they do have. As far as I remember, they do have their most of the videos posted on Twitter. So if you are someone that is still using Twitter, you can just go in there and look at some of the things that have been created. That's, I would say, this is some of the best option. Other than that, it's going to be Pinterest with research and or you following people that are doing logos uh, on the platforms that you are on. So if you're on Threads and you follow designers that are doing rebrand or branding and logos, logo design and so on, that is going to be your inspiration. If you're on Twitter, same thing, go there, do that, so on. That's, I think, rebrand is my go-to most of the time. There is another one that is called Logo Folio, I think. What now? Obviously, I can't find it. Yeah, there's probably like a lot of options if you go on whatever design platform that exists and you look for Logo Folio, you will find a ton of them. Um, I would say for app logo specifically, as in app icons, I don't have a specific website. I just follow Dimitri on Twitter. That's the thing. That's almost the only thing that I have. So, oh, God dang. Obviously, when I'm looking for someone, we can't find it. We talked about them a second ago, earlier today. So I know they are somewhere not there. Why? Why, when I'm looking for something, I can never find the thing? I don't know. I do not know. But yeah, most of these things, like right now, these are my liked posts. So all of the thing that I follow are designers, and therefore I'm getting a ton of things. So Dimitri is very good. Like, you know what? Not good. A very prolific designer when it comes to app design, app icon design. So you can go through that and find some of the things that they have built. Just play with that or get that inspiration from here. I think that's going to be my best recommendation. Um, yeah. God damn, that hurts. So that would be um, my main recommendations for this in terms of organizing stuff. I would have everything in one page, not having them in multiple pages. So going back to where I was, you know, obviously, if I click on services, it's going into um, like right there in my services. If I click on pricing, it's going into my pricing section. So everything is in the same thing, and I can just scroll through and be good with it. Um, Bilge, did you post on Xiaohongshu today? I saw someone ask the exact same question, but also work on it. Um, So yeah, I would do that. Um, overall, like ways, I would make sure to have as much as possible in one scroll and be done with that. But yeah, one scroll being like one single page rather than 3 pages. Even though it makes the website way longer, I think it would be better. So yeah. For the Figma thing, you can, when you're using Alt, like pressing, sorry, I don't think, yeah, I don't think I have that enabled. Um, bitch, where you are? Um, okay, cool. So you have the keystrokes right here, which are not necessarily the best position specifically right now, but it's going to be fine. You can see things. So if you're here, you can press like Alt to get your space between elements. And so if you're not able to do that, that means you are not like deep enough in the whole system. So if you have a complex design thing, this one is not complex enough, but whatever. If you're here and maybe you are wanting to get the space in between these two elements right there, you might not have been going deep enough. So if you're on macOS, you click on Command to dive as deep as possible by default. So, instead of multiple clicking in order to achieve the thing, you can just press Command and click on whatever you need to like check and so on. If you want to check these, for example, but you want to check the distance between the text and the divider, you can use Command Option to then go as deep. So basically, the option is going to let you dive in, and the option Alt key is just letting you measure stuff. So that's the thing. Is that what you're trying to do? If that's the case, then it should work. But if that's not working, I don't know. I don't seem to have that issue. Um, if it seems to have been based on a system, as in there was an update and since then no issues or still issues, you can right click and then say reload tab to make that happen. You can go into the check for update. Like usually that is going to tell you reload all tabs, right? You are in the last update, but maybe you need to reload everything. By doing so, it might just fix your issue. And the last thing is you could be in a weird situation where you have something that is selected and entered. Um, and yeah, everything is different now. That's the weird thing. I have so you're not the first one to ask that question. Again, as I said, like someone on Xiaongshu this morning said that or asked that, which Xiaongshu is a Chinese app. If you know it, you know it. If you don't, you don't. It's fine. Everything is okay. But Yeah, I've seen that today. So based on that, you might not be the only one. The fact that I have not seen that, let me just reload all tabs, and then I'm just gonna quit and restart it once everything is loaded to check if something changes. Um, I have noticed though that they have changed some of the keybinds that we used to have. So that's something that pissed me off. It happens. Um, but could be something. Hmm. Load. Yeah, it's still the same. It's still the same thing. So to me, it's the same behavior. Um, I appreciate it. I'm gonna check. Yeah. Oh, I see. So it seems you're here and not there. So in Figma Draw, you are in the drawing environment, in which case, yes, the Alt key might sometimes not do exactly what you're looking for. So you just need to change that back to design in order to get access to the thing that you are used to. And yeah, it changed the color, it changed the thing. That pissed me off as well. If that was your issue, uh, yeah, it's annoying. Yeah. When they announced Figma Draw and they changed everything, um, you are not the only one that have been faced with this. And you just load the thing in Figma Draw because it's kind of new, and you clicked on go on.
L1CHH is now following.
Thanks for the follow, I appreciate it. It just moves you to here, and then everything changed, and you're like, what the fuck can I do? That is not where I'm used to see things. So I get it. If you're just a dev and you are looking for the dev stuff, it's gonna be somewhere around here, but you need like a paid tier to be able to access this, which is not necessarily good. But it might be better for you in order to get like your overall spacing and margin and so on to just be on the dev mode section. I don't know how much dev mode inspects you have access to based on company tier and so on, but that might be a bit easier for you to just navigate the layout, just go there. This one you can access it by doing Shift D to just shift between design and dev mode. Um, it's kind of weird, um, but it works. The thing that pissed me off, though, personally speaking, is that Shift D, the thing that they have in the first place, was to switch between design and dev. And now that they have added Shift nothing for Figma Draw, it's a Shift D as well, but it's not really working, so it makes no sense. I'm gonna have to talk to them about it when I see them. But yeah. So yeah, that's a thing. I hope that works. Hope that works. So yeah. Um yeah, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It happens so often. I get it. I get it. So here overall that's the only thing that I would say. Ways I would have everything on the homepage to make sure that you have like a coherent experience. The testimonials are something that makes so much. Is I an F as the da for Russian? Interesting. I don't know. I don't know the Cyrillic keyboard. I don't know if it's Russian or Czech or Cyrillic keyboard. I don't know how to read that. I can read that or that. Da is fine. I think I can read Privyet. I think Privyet, I've seen it so many times that I'm like, yeah, I get it. Uh, other than that, some of the small thing that I wanted to notice or mention, please, please make sure that you have a favicon on your website because you need one, otherwise it feels like a mistake. And specifically, if you have something that is um, like a company website, um, you know, an agency freelance work, it feels unprofessional, and some people would be probably like thrown off by the fact that these teeny tiny details are not there and expecting them, but they are not at the level of expertise and design details that they are expecting, and therefore not going with you as a potential hire. So, small details, small stuff could help. Um, it doesn't really matter. You have the Max Studio right now. You could just use the M and only the M and be like, that's enough. It's just a fucking letter. It takes you 3 seconds in Figma to create like a square with an M inside. Done. Nothing else. It doesn't really matter for what it is. It just needs to be there in order to ensure that it's not an empty slot like it is right now. That's the only thing that you need. So, yeah. Other than that, the rest is pretty good. Um, yeah. the the numbers that you have here is basically what I wanted to have in the background of the cards that I talked about earlier. Um, and yeah, all of that is really good. Like it's enough to give you something. You would need like the details page and so on, obviously, because it's necessary. But that's the thing. I'm seeing that you are using Netlify. I know that Netlify has template. As far as I remember, I remember that there are some templates that exist, and you might be able to just use some of them for like um, visual templates. I think that these ones are just like technical implementations, or maybe I'm making a mistake and it's Astro. I forgot. It's been a while. But yeah, this is overall it's really good. Change the illustration is going to be pretty good. If you are Russian, if that's your case, you will find the entirety of the illustration that I talked about earlier on a lot of Russian websites. The entirety of UI8 catalog is available on VK. I'm saying nothing. And Russians have a specific website that contains the entire thing, which I forgot the name, obviously, but they have like all of UI8, they have all of goddamn LS Studio, they have another thing as well. I mean, they have so many stuff. So if you can type Russian and read Russian, you would be good. Don't do it though. But it's available. Um, but yeah, other than that, I think that's about it. It's not very pretty. No, it works and it gives you the things for free. So, you know, if you're someone that cannot afford to go through the illustration section and spend like $40 because $40 where you live is a lot, I just don't. Be careful on what you're doing with the illustrations and so on, and make sure that you potentially have the ability to just get a license at some point. But, you know, um, maybe that's expensive. I don't know. But don't. I said nothing. It's on VK somewhere. That's for sure. So, yeah, if you can type Russian, it's always the thing. I can't, which is kind of sad. I don't need to, but you know, it happens. Um, so yeah, overall good. That's gonna be the end point on this one. As okay, let me load these things to see what they have and what's good, what's bad. I feel like this one is interesting. Not necessarily the best option. Ooh, ooh. It's missing some stuff, but it's interesting. This is potentially really good. However, and that's the most important part, do you have that level of quality of videos and images? Because if you don't have a shot here with an illustration or a video that you know is as good quality, as good design as this, it's going to be pretty hard to make it make sense, right? So these are really cool. I like the duotone version, right? The fact that it's just red and black, that makes a lot of sense. If you have good images and good videos, um, just good images is going to be good enough. The transitions are great. The product details are great. Like if you have good images, you're good with that. So this one is pretty cool. Um, Same thing. This is just the video makes it good. The layout is simple, which is sometimes what you need. Um, it's very minimalistic. I do like this a lot. It's very much the same thing. Let me just check the detail page. Interesting transition. Um, I will check that. Yes. Uh, I don't know. This feels weird. I don't like this one. I hate this, but that's fine. Um, Interesting choice. Ah, I fear this one is mostly animation for the sake of animation and nothing else. If you remove the effects, you end up on a website that is kind of boring. So debatable, but interesting. Um, there are things that are good. Like this presentation is pretty good based on image-based things. Um, yeah, take your time. Um, but that's it. Like the text at the top is not necessarily readable. I would not recommend this one. Moving on. This looks like it's the same as the first one. Sorry, wrong key. Yeah, it kind of is the same. Um, Same thing that I say earlier. I feel like these would benefit from having basically these thing peaking. Like if it was right about here and I see something, at least some teeny tiny thing that would help me. It's also using the bottom blur, like progressive blur, very intensively. And I don't know if it's necessary right there, specifically if it's just at the bottom and not bottom and top. So highly debatable. Good page transition. Presentation is nice. Layout is okay. Other than that, pretty cool. There is a lot of really small details, like these. For example, these buttons that are still there when it's not the one that is selected. That's kind of weird to me. So, nah. uh, Henry has a nice minimalistic thing. Project right away. We do like this, as always. Bump everything up just to see the fact that there is some project underneath, even though we kind of know that they exist. The case section is probably going to be supposed to be where things are, but let's just go back home. These clicks are annoying though. That transition is kind of shit. It takes too much time for what it is. I'm not waiting that long. If I'm a hiring manager, I'm not waiting that long. I'm scrolling through and that's it. So yeah, that's the fact that this is not clickable. I don't know if it's just because it's a template and, you know, that's kind of bad. Yeah, highly debatable. Let me load a case study just to see how it looks or how it's supposed to look. Oh, none of them are working. Trash. Interesting placement, interesting button. All right. So again, you see the project right away, which I do like. That's pretty nice. Background is a very current thing. This is kind of shit in one specific detail. As in, if I'm on the card itself, it should open the fucking folder, not just when I'm hovering the folder itself. But this is a pretty thing. Not gonna lie. Click should happen, but right now they don't. And then page transition, debatable. This is a mobile first design for sure. A lot of text, goddamn. All right. I would say that's good enough. It's interesting enough. You have like a lot of core concepts. I don't know exactly how good this one will be on mobile though. Like it's kind of tight. So specifically the navigation at the bottom, where I mean, right now obviously we can't access the things because goddamn. But yeah, that's much better. Like the mobile first is much better, specifically for the animation. Um, this one is interesting, but that's it. That's it. Oh, that pissed me off. But I get it. I hate this. For IDs. If you are someone who is not necessarily specific in what you're doing, this is pretty good. This is a very conceptual website which has presentation of stuff that I'm not like seeing most of the time, which is pretty cool. So we do like this for that idea and concept. But yes, yes, it is. Transitions are interesting. Presentations are good. They make sense. It's very visual. So if you are like an artist and not necessarily like a designer for an app or something, this is a better option. But um, it's really interesting. I do think that it's good, but it might be not great for some use cases. But it's really cool. I mean, it's really cool, but that's it. This is nice as well. Like the small colors, very pastel colors on the K and so on. That's pretty neat. Oh shit, that's what I forgot. We're going to check that. So these websites don't change based on system themes. Interesting. Um, and then we stopped here earlier, so that's similar. Yeah, from what you have selected as Olka for now, I think Reform is the best option. Like this is to me the most interesting and fun one. This one is nah, maybe not. This one is interesting, but it's lacking some stuff. Like I haven't seen any project really in there. You need to go onto the work page, you know, to load the selected work and so on, and then that's there. But yeah, I think this one is pretty interesting. Of that's offsetted. It's probably because of that. Cool. um, this one is conceptual. I feel like you would stand out if you are going to be against other designers. This one will stand out for sure. However, you need like so much illustration and good stuff to attract the eyes of the people that are looking at this website. So debatable. This one is simple. It does the job. Um, it's just I'm not really the biggest fan of what they have done here on the detail view. I feel like this is kind of bad. So yeah, debatable, but it's interesting. Um, Reform is interesting because of how you stand out. Like it's so red. Obviously, you can change the color, but you know, getting something that stands out so much with such minimalistic previews, um, I I do think these are pretty good. The transitions are really nice, and I can really see like for designers something that would work here. It might be lacking some text here and there, as in the only text that I can see here is this, which is fine by me if you are a photographer, but if you're not, if you're a UX designer, for example, or UI designer, you need to explain your train of thoughts and present what you have come up with. That might be limited. You might need to break some of the CMS thing that they have. So this one is better when it comes to their case study presentation based on the amount of text that you can see, even though it's the same every time. You have a lot of images, you have a lot of text. Makes sense. So based on the use case, that case study is better. Um, this one is really cool. That's it. This one is neat for the homepage, but not for the case studies or the work presentation. And this one is really nice for almost everything, including the amount of text and presentation there is inside of each of the case studies. But it's also very limited. So a lot of things needs to be checked. But, you know, I feel like that's a very conceptual, very interesting website that, again, if I act as a hiring manager, the probability of me just checking you out a bit longer is greater just because, you know, how you stand out from everything we've seen so far. So that's interesting. Um, it again, you just gave me a list of portfolios, right? So I don't know what you do specifically and what you're looking for with these portfolios, which based on that, I can't really pinpoint stuff and give you like a direction of, oh, yeah, no, you should do that instead. Because you're looking for, I don't know, photography work or something else. So based on the list that you gave me, these are the four that make sense to me. Um, it depends on the use case. And I'm sure there is others. I'm sure there are other things that just, would make more sense in terms of how it's working, not working, the simplicity, the interactivities, and so on. Like that's potential. I don't know, but interesting, interesting behavior. Um, like this is weird, but it works. But it's weird. Um, it really depends on you, though. That's the not that. Like the light mode, dark mode switch is something that should be in a portfolio, kinda. Eh. But overall, I think a mix. Going back to what I said 2 ways earlier, a mix of the about page and the work page on this one would make everything better. That's a very interesting, like, first loading screen, right? Senior experience designer, cool. If here you had something with a carousel of, images that just gives you a preview of the work that you've done, that's better. And then you can have the whole thing, storytelling thing that they have created. That's fine. Um, but yeah, that's that section. These are pretty good. So we do like them. As always, this is an interesting point. I do think that if you have like a memoji, it brings some personality to the website, which is pretty appreciated by a lot of people. So it could work. Again, depending on many things, this is $99. I'm always, eh, almost always certain that there is a version of this thing extremely similar, very simple, somewhere on Framer, like on here, with for some reason something that is free, right? Like if you're looking for business related stuff and you just want to check the free ones, almost certain that you will be able to find something in there that, you know, is just a good enough starting point to just get something out and then polish it a bit better a bit later. That doesn't really matter, but like maybe this is good. I know it's not exactly what you're doing, but like maybe this is good. Maybe the colors are good. Maybe the presentation is pretty nice. And you're just looking for something very, very simple. And you just want to present your business. And that's enough. Like you need to change the images with the images of what you're doing, but that's it. Nothing else. So it's free. My point every time. Um, that doesn't apply really for Framer. It's a bit more complex, but yes, it's also true. But also less easy to find. less easy to find in the free tier. Free tier. If you have it for free, you know. Is it for free? It's fine. Going through the free tier though, and not the paid but free tier, you will have like a ton of options as well that would give you similar, if not equal, outputs. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, if you have them already, then why not? Why not? But it's a bit complicated. I agree. Huh? Is it the same person? That looks like the same person. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I do like it though. I would do the opposite in a way. Like that's a bit not good because I'm usually circling on top of project, but yeah. Again, UI designer who do brand design as well, but like mostly UI UX designer. I think this is the best option. Um, Mind. This is really photograph, like someone that takes pictures or film. This one is in between, but there is something wrong about the previews. Like the these pages, I just don't like them. They're doing good with the Regis, which is nice. That's neat. But um almost. I lied. That's shit. That's bad. Bad radius. Um but it works. I didn't check the rest of the fucking pages and I should have, but god dang. That's good. There's so much animation. I don't think I like this. I don't think Jake is a good idea. Um, I think Jake was a good idea because it was a designer related portfolio, but this one is a bit better. So if you have access to this, use that instead. I think it makes more sense. Makes more sense. Just make a mix of the homepage and the work about the the about and the work page mixed together would make a lot of sense. So yeah, I do like it. I do like it. What did you send me? That is, what the fuck is that profile picture? Uh, Interesting. That's on me. I know. Don't worry about it. Cool detail. What's she doing there? What happened? Why she's here? 3 pixels? Just 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 3 pixels on the side, right there, for no reason. Um, have a good cooking time. Take care of yourself. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. These two icons are not exactly in the same spot as the one that are above, and therefore there is a misalignment or perceived misalignment. So that is probably because of their container not being exactly in the same vicinity, but that's a simple thing to fix. And I would highly recommend you to fix this. And then this icon, that's why I'm saying this is my fault and not yours. I need to punch that one. I mean, technically for you, this one a pixel and a half to the right to make it visually aligned and not mathematically aligned. So that's going to need to happen. It's on the main thing. Like that's a me thing, not a you thing. So don't worry about it. Um, uh, Other than that, pretty good. I'd say the same thing needs to happen here. Like the alignment of the text behind and in the mini player kind of need to be aligned. So like there is spacing to be changed, maybe the size of the image to be changed, and so on. However, this is kind of more complex for sure. I agree with that. I agree with that. Also, if you haven't laughed at this, goddamn. Uh, I did. I did much. Denny, what did you send me? You sent me this. Oh, it's a Figma file. It's not even a. It's not even live. Goddamn. Is that openable, Denny? Or is it something else? I mean, openable on stream. Same question as usual. Um. Mm, mm, mm. Goddamn, there is so much work in there already. Makes no sense. I don't think Denny's still there. I think Denny's out. Out and about. That's an interesting thing. I feel PG's SK influence on you on this. God damn, that's crazy. It's interesting. Um, hmm, hmm. It's really good. It's really good. I'm gonna wait a bit just in case he decides to come back. I doubt it. We never know. We never know. But yeah, no. Overall, that's the thing. Portfolios is kind of complicated to get, and if you are UI UX person, the best thing is going to be something that is the most personal possible, but also, welcome back. I forgot who had a delivery. I thought it took place earlier. I took a look at the image already. Let me go back to this for a split second. So, my mistake. That's a me thing. Don't worry about it. That icon, I need to change it to be 1.5 pixel on the right because it's mathematically centered, but it's not visually centered. So that's a me thing. Don't worry about it. The issue number 2 that I have is the alignment from the back elements to the front element. So the heart needs to be aligned with the heart, and the play button needs to be aligned with the more button, visually at least. And then on the other side, either the grid needs to be bumped to the right side, or this needs to be bumped to the left side. So that's the thing, but it's working. The other things that I spent a bit of time on, 1 pixel, just 2 pixels. But that's good. That's good. It works. It's the brightest bitch in the center. That's the thing. That's the thing. Like, I do think that the caption of these edibles ain't shit is really, really good. Goddamn. Um, so yeah, that's something. That's something that works. We do like it. Yeah, I wanted to do that at some point. That's true. And then I forgot. And then I stopped that ID. Maybe it could work. Hmm, maybe not. I'm thinking about adding stuff like um basically this, which, you know, goddamn. Hmm. That transition is really shit. I don't really understand why and how that happens all the times. Um, it makes no sense. No sense. Hmm. Hmm. Some of these drop shadows are not doing it for me. And also these Enos don't help. So I think I need something like a 100% white at the top with like a 0% blur, so it's just sharp right there. Yeah, that helps. Hmm. I feel like there is a need for a blending mode on this, and to make it make sense with the background, but also it's mostly for all of the layers rather than, other things. So but yeah, that's something that I wanted to do, and now I just done it. We talked about it before, how we can create these realistic-ish um, rendering, and so some of them are easier than others, obviously. But sometimes it's just a matter of blur, like how much blur you bring or add to some elements to just soften the edges and give you the overall raise effect that you want. So right now we are using the exact same color as the background. Where it's supposed to be, it's a gradient, so that's, obviously a bit of a mistake here and there, but like it works. And then there is like so much small detail that is added on top to get all of the letters where we need them. Something like this would probably be a bit more realistic based on how print and press would work. 2% would be okay, but like that's not necessarily good. Not that this word specifically is going to stay on this, but yeah. That's the only thing that I don't know how to do in SwiftUI. It's the inner shadow. Even though it seems to have been implemented, I haven't figured it out. Um, from what I've seen so far, it's supposed to be like from here, and I don't think I can do that on a fucking image. I think I need potentially a rectangle here to make it work, and I have doubts. Lol. And let's do a frame 100 by 100. That's going to be good enough. Let's do a rounded rectangle so that we have radius of 24 with a style of continuous. Yes. Small detail and stuff. So here, if I add a shadow, that's the thing. And my shadow right now is is red with a radius of 16. What I have seen is that if I just redo that and then get my thing in inner, it's supposed to work as an inner shadow. But it just doesn't want to work. And we have the color, which is going to be what they want me to insert, but then the color is wrong, and it just makes no fucking sense to me. So I've tried. Maybe it needs to be the other way around. But that's such a weird thing. Yeah. I mean, I need a, make sure. I doubt it. I doubt it. I'm not making it either. It's far off. I think one of you is gonna make it right there. Nah, maybe not. I lied. So close though. So that's the thing that pissed me off. I just don't understand. Uh, I don't know. Yeah, that no. Ah, yeah, that's shit. Hmm. It's really weird. It's really weird. Inner shadows in SwiftUI seems to be something that is, supposed to be easy, but everything I found has been this. And that is it just inner and I'm a dumbass? Probable. Highly probable. No. Hmm. Huh? It makes no sense. Oh, no. That makes no sense either. Yeah, nothing works here. What do you mean red shadow doesn't work? My bad. Blue it is. The thing is, if I do a dot inner at the end of this, it's not gonna be a good enough build, so that makes no sense. It's just I really have a hard time with inner shadows in SwiftUI, and I've tried, but it's just not working. Not working. So yeah. Yes. That's better. Much better. Same thing. I need a that's a me thing, don't worry about it. You know, that happens. But yeah. Stony, you were so close. I'm so sad. Man, what do you mean no? You did fix this one though, visually speaking. So that's interesting. Um, oh, that's what it was. Your starting dot. Um, is there? Yes, that's why I said don't do it. I mean, I didn't say don't do it, but like, don't do it. Did I feel like I already did, and it's just like not released for plenty of reasons. Yeah, it is. Okay, so should be better in a circle. Should be better in a circle. And for you specifically, because I know you have them. I think that should be better before you do your usual thing. Let's not be too dumb on this one. Just think about it. No, just make sure. I think we good. I think that my triangle is a bit different, so that is the reason. But going back to what we did last week, um, that's pretty much centered for where the hardest point is, which means we are pretty good. You should be fine. Should be fine with that. Yeah. This one is needing so much that I it's my fault. Like I'm taking the blame on this one. I have so much work to do on these ones to make sure that we have all of the solid sparking icons for everything in a way that just makes sense, and that is not just this, because this is the laziest thing I could do, and it will work, but no, that's something. And then this section needs to happen. I have started, but I also it needs so much more work. And right now I'm working on this. So, that's the situation. Just don't have the time. And then I have the thing on Thursday that you will hear about on Friday, probably. So it's a lot. All of that is a lot, as things are. So, you know, that's uh that's the situation. Anyways, the reason why I wanted to do this in the first place is because basically some currently existing perfume brands have these embossed textures on the packaging, and it makes it so much more premium, or premium looking at least. And that's it's very interesting, you know. Hmm. Hmm. I wish this was transparent enough, so that would make us like white at what, 2%, and then this one would be a darker gray, kinda at like 4%. The goal being on this, that if you have that, then add it on something that is a dark mode or light mode, you could just flip some of the values and still have the effect work, but apparently that's not an option. That would break stuff though. Yeah. I feel like if the light was in a blend mode, but then in a blend mode we end up with so much shit that's way too highlighted. Um,
In the beginning, there was man, and for a time, it was good.
hmm.
But humanity's so-called civil societies soon fell victim to vanity and corruption. Then man made the machine in his own likeness.
Yeah, maybe. Even then, I feel like that's not gonna work. Anyways, we don't need this. I'm not gonna use this anyways.
Did I fall asleep?
Ah. So yeah, need to release this. That's the thing. I think. God dang, I hate it. I think as soon as I'm done with this, I can move on back to this and polish the version that needs to be on Android to make sure that we have something. Update the iOS version to be more liquid glassy friendly, and then I can finally go back to this. But goddamn, I don't have the time to do all that. So we'll see. At some point, it's gonna happen, but it just makes no sense. I really wish I could work on um, this on stream. I can't for reasons. So at some point, maybe. Anyways,
Did I fall asleep?
I guess. I guess. Don't have much more. We don't have much more. Oh, I talked about that last time. I watched the Acolyte, uh, some of the latest Star Wars related TV show. It was shit. If you watched it and you liked it, I'm sorry, but there is so many issues with it in as an outsider, right? Obviously, I'm not in the business, so I don't know shit. But um, basically, when you have twins in a TV show or a movie, you cast twins. Or if you can't cast twins, you create a digital double. What they've done is have one person play twins and a set of two other people play the same twins but younger. And that makes no sense. That makes no sense. So, you know, that's where we are. Previous and next are aligned. It's just that it's way more complex. Because we don't have the same amount of space right here. Like they are kind of aligned. Red, welcome back. How is you? That's like not a feasible thing, but it is aligned. And for seek, as you call it, um, forward backward things, they are. I agree. They are visually misaligned, and that pissed me off. But I don't have a choice. I wish I had a choice, though. Not gonna lie. Specifically, if you go in duotone, it feels wrong and it feels miscentered, and it could just be on the side and so on. Um, it's just yeah, no, I know what you mean, but nah, the distance here is specific, so you know, special. Bitch. Yeah. Mm, mm. It's not much we can do. Not much we can do on these. Eh. God damn. Yeah, that's where we are. That is where we are. Um, that's crazy. That's crazy twice. Hmm. 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 I guess. I guess. Unless you have someone specific, Stony, in mind. Vash is live and Cat just went live, apparently. I don't see you. Who's you get? Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, why not? It's a wolf kind of thing. I like the profile picture though. That's the thing. Let's do that. Let's do that. So, as always, thanks a lot for being here. I highly appreciate it. I wish I had fucking made that button. I forgot that happens. It's a thing. So if you want to watch the VOD, it's going to be on YouTube, as always. If you have a question, I'm not live. That happens on the Discord. And if you want to come back here and ask a question live, that's going to be on Wednesday at 4:20. Um, no, Red just arrived. Sadly. So, yeah, that happens. As always, if you want to learn Japanese, Can is really good. If you want to give me some money, you can sub, but otherwise, I would rather you buy a UI kit so that you get something in return. As always, that's much better. But yeah, take care of yourself. I need to bring back the chat battle and the other things to, have them in this screen because it's missing. But yeah, that's in the work. It's gonna happen later. As always, take care of yourself. Eat something, drink something, be kind to each other. And I'll see you on Wednesday, I guess. Bye.